Hey, welcome everybody. Good afternoon from MIA. This is Dr. Laz coming at you from MIA, that's Miami. So, sorry for all you northerners, don't mean to rub it in. Wearing a t-shirt down here. And that's Miami for you. So, hopefully we'll send some warm Devar Torahs up your way and warm up the joint. So, an amazing lesson from this past Shabbos, which was Shabbos Shira. It's known as the Sabbath of the Song. And this was the song that we sang after crossing the Yam Suf, often known as the Red Sea, but a more accurate translation is the Reed Sea. And we broke out into song. So, thus, the t-shirt. Some of you may recognize the image. So this is something that was found in the ancient archives. The original piece done by Da Vinci in the 1400s featured what's known as the Vitruvian Man and interesting proportions and dimensions. And the original one actually had a guitar on there in the 1400s. Come on. Okay, so I'm stretching it a little bit. This was added, but this was a famous work done by Da Vinci. Came out. I worked on it for a while. It came out towards the end of the 1400s, I believe 1490. But I thought this was an appropriate shirt to wear to share this awesome, inspiring, amazing Devar Torah that when I saw it, knocked my socks off. And if I tell you I'm not wearing any socks, I promise you I'm not wearing any socks. All right, you want proof? Fine. I'm not wearing any socks. It knocked my socks off. Okay? So, let's start with this notion, what is song? Like, what's the big deal with song? And in fact, the idea of song is mentioned not once, not twice, not 3 times, you got it, 4 times in one section, one chapter of the Torah, which is the 15th chapter, which begins Az Yashir. And that is the famous song. It means then Moses will sing, and also the Bnei Yisrael will sing. It's in singular tense because we sang it as one individual, an entire nation singing as one, which is pretty awesome. So it says Yashir, Hashira Hazos, that's 2. Then Ashira, the 3rd time, I will sing. Ashira Hashem, I will sing to Hashem, to God Almighty. And finally the song concludes with Miriam, Shiru Lashem, singing also to God Almighty. And so let's look at this notion of what is song. Interesting, we have birds chirping in the background. Some people actually have a custom on Shabbos Shira to feed the birds. They take kasha and feed it to the birds. Some do it before Shabbat, some do it after Shabbat. And if you have pet birds, some do it during Shabbat, because your birds rely on you for food, so no problem. So, probably many of you know the melody. Which is Kilo Yitosh Hashem Amo, that God will not forsake His people. That equals the numerical equivalent, by the way, of 520, which, of course, as you would guess, is the numerical equivalent of Az Yashir. So I thought we should start with that song. Wanted to share with you an amazing story that happened to me that involves music and singing. And it happened in Weston. I played a gig for Rabbi Schwalter in Chabad in Weston when they were in a little storefront in a mall, little mall down in South Florida. And he hired my band to play for, I believe it was for a Purim gig, and he was just kind of getting started. So I show up there with a 4-piece group, guitar, myself on guitar, drummer, my son Yossi on drums, keyboard player, and what else did we have? We had keyboards, drums, guitar, and I think a bass player or a horn player, I don't remember, but it was a 4-piece group, and we have all this equipment. We're ready for Madison Square Garden. We walk in before unloading, and I see there's like 15, 20 people. That was it. So my ego got the best of me. And I pulled Rabbi Spalter aside. I say, Rabbi, I feel bad taking the money for this, such a small amount of people. I got equipment to play at Madison Square Garden. I got, a rockin' band. Here's some cassettes. Here's a cassette player. And just play some music. We'll pull out of here. You don't even have to pay us. Don't worry. That's how I felt bad. But really, it was my ego. I'm thinking, come on, bring in Dr. Laz and the Cure. We got to play for 500 people. 50 people? Forget about it. 20 people? What, are they kidding me? And by the way, half of the 20 people was the rabbi's family. Okay? So the rabbi said to me, no, I want you to play. My son Yossi pulls me aside. Very often your kids know what buttons to push. And he says to me, Abba, I thought you were into this quality over quantity. You're always talking quality over quantity bit. So who cares how many are there? Let's get out there and play, do the best we can, put our best foot forward. And whoever we reach. So how can I say no to that? Okay, we unload, we set up. One of my songs is a song about Jewish pride. It's a Jewish rap song that goes, don't mean to brag, don't mean to be coy. I just thank the good Lord I'm a real Jew boy, Jew boy. And that's the chorus part. So I will say, thank you, the good Lord, I'm a real Jew boy, and I give the mic to people, and if it's a guy, he'll say Jew boy, and a girl will say Jew girl, and that's that. So I'm going around to each person who's sitting along the wall, all 20 of them, and I go up to one guy, and I say, just thank the good Lord, I'm a real Jew boy, and he says into the microphone, Jew boy. I start walking away. He holds my arm and he pulls me back. Okay, he wants to do it again. I just thank the good Lord, I'm a real, and he says, Jew boy. And I start walking away. He pulls me back 3-4 times, corresponding to the number of times it says shir in this parsha that we just read. And so, okay, I figure we got to share the wealth, share the glory. I move on, and we finish the song. The band takes a break. Two women come up, and it was a mother and daughter, both crying. And they said to me, the guy who kept pulling you back to say the chorus of your song, that's my husband. This is my daughter, it's her father. This is the first time he said any words in 4 months. First time he spoke him. He had a stroke 4 months ago. The doctors have said he can start speaking. He could have started speaking 2.5 months ago. And he hasn't said anything. This is the first time we've heard him speak. And they were crying and brought tears to my eyes. And I said, that's a heck of a way to get a free CD from me. And I gave him the CD. And I said, it's not really my song per se. It's really the power of music. And music has that ability to awaken in people feelings, emotions. It brings back memories. When sometimes you hear a song, suddenly you're transported back in time. You're in high school, you're in college, you're 30, 40, 50 years ago. I hear a song and I can be transported back to when I was a kid growing up in my parents' home. And this was a song that they would play a lot, let's say, on the record player. I don't know if you know what record players are anymore, but check it out on the internet. Things that spin around, the needle goes on top. It's actually got amazing quality, and they're actually making a comeback. So if I would have let my ego get in the way and we would have pulled out, I never would have learned that lesson. That it is quality over quantity. That quality is huge, that's huge. And from quality will come quantity also. And Rabbi Spalter has actually said to me something like, we give it all to each person who comes in. We give it all. And that's why next gig that you guys come back, it won't be 20, it'll be maybe 100. And then from 100, maybe we'll go to 200. And that's how you reach people. You have to give, you have to be sincere. You have to give truly from yourself. You're not doing anything for a notch on the belt, but you're giving of yourself. When you give of yourself, you're automatically you get results. And so it has to be done in a sincere way. So I just wanted to bring this notion out of that's the power of song, it's the power of music, and that's what we see here. Interesting that it says the men sang. The men sang a song. Miriam ends the whole thing with, it says that Miriam brought out tambourine. They brought tambourines out from Egypt. They had prepared in Egypt. They had such faith and belief that the redemption would come, so they were ready. They're bringing their tambourines with them. The guys came up short a little bit. All they could do was sing. They had their voices. I'm not sure if they were banging on sticks or clapping their hands, but the women really won up the men here and brought out their instruments. And right, it says "Vateitzena kol ha'nashim acharecha." So it says, yeah, Miriam took es hatof biyadah. She brought out her instrument in her hand, these tambourines, these drumming musical instruments, which are probably tambourines. And all the women followed. They got their tambourines out and they rocked the house. And so I wanted to end with the word Ashira. Let me just finish with this one thing. Ashira, which means I will sing, equals 516. And what are we trying to do in our lifetime? We're trying to basically to bring the redemption to the whole world, and it starts with ourselves. And so interesting that Ashira 516 is the same numerical equivalent of Yibane HaMikdash, which means to build the temple. It means to build the temple within ourselves. And if we can build that temple within ourselves, then that automatically spreads. And what does it mean? It means that we walk around not holier than thou, but the temple within ourselves is a temple that conveys love, peace, understanding, that embraces another individual and reaches out with this love and light towards another. That's how we build our own personal temple, and which will lead to the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem, the third temple. So interestingly enough, it says that the second temple, that the temple was destroyed because of sinas chinam, which in the translation means hatred for no reason. You know, I'm better than this guy. This guy got this, it should have happened to me. How come he got that? That should happen to me. And so there was jealousy and envy and hatred. It was called sinas chinam, hatred for no reason. So what's the antidote for that? The Rebbe has spoken many times, and a lot of the commentaries say the antidote to hatred for no reason is unconditional love, and that's known as avas chinam. Love, you don't need a reason for it. Just love because this is another person who's created in the image of God Almighty. We all are. One God made us all. And so we're all created in the image of, we all have this godly image that embodies us, that is who we are, that is our essence. So, interestingly enough, the gematria of Ashira not only equals Yibane HaMikdash, which means to build the temple, but also equals the same numerical equivalent. You can look it up, 516, as Avas Chinam, love for no reason, unconditional love. And when we reach out to others with this idea of Ashira, singing, rejoicing, spreading happiness to others, automatically you get this idea of, you have Avas Chinam, which is this unconditional love. We're not judging anybody. We don't care about how they look, how they dress, what their job is, etc., etc. But this is another human being who's worthy of our validation. So like the Talmud says, be the first to greet somebody. You go up, you say hello to them. Sometimes that means more than $1 million. You know, somebody could throw them $50 bill. On the other hand, somebody stops to say hello to somebody. How are you? What, you know, and to show a little bit of care, that goes a long, long way. So it's only appropriate that we end with, and the great merit of Miriam and all the women who really led the way here, because they didn't just sing, but they played. They brought their instruments with them. So it was a whole new level of singing, right? And we also have to end with the Fab Four. All you need is love. Ba-ba-da-da-da. So reach out with some love, folks.